Welcome back to GP Nail Art. Jessica here. On my left hand I have the blind pick mani, I'll put that in the cards. And on my right hand I have just a simple light blue color. It's Dreamtime. I believe this is from the Nutcracker mystery box from Referral Nail that they had out during the holidays. But I picked a color that I thought would look good with white and black because we're going to review this stamping kit. I got this at my local drugstore. It's the Kiss Stamp Styler. So it comes with this plate that's shown there. It comes with the stamper, white polish, black stamping polish, and the scraper. So it's a whole full kit. But at the drugstore, it was definitely less than $15. It was maybe $11 or so. On the back, it has all the steps and then their website info that you saw there. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull everything out of the box that it came in. So everything is packaged nicely. And then we'll start stamping. So I'm kind of going to review all of the products that come in this kit. And I'm going to use both the white and the black polish. That's why I used the blue dipped powder, because I wanted something that both would show up on nicely. And this stamper, it was nice. It's a little bit thicker or stiffer than what I'm kind of used to for some other stampers, but it worked all right. And these are little bottles of the polish, but they'll work for what I need to do. And I like that it's a clear stamper, so you can see through and see exactly where you're going to place the stamp on your nail. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull off that blue film. So if you're not familiar with stamping, you want to make sure that you pull off that blue film. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to pick up any stamping images at all. So that's just a protective layer. Okay, and because those stamping polish bottles are so small, I don't want to tip them over at all, so I'm going to use my little rubber bottle holders, and I'll link those in the description box below for you. Okay, so I'm going to start with my gel base coat. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but you've seen me do this before in other stamping videos, so I like to use this as a sticky layer. But if you have just the Maniology sticky base coat, you can use that as well. And this does need to be cured, so I'll cure that in the lamp for 60 seconds before I get started with the stamping. And my mom was checking out the stamper. Okay, so one thing that I was noticing is the blank polish, it's well, the bristles are kind of all kind of weird and a little bit wonky. I actually have to cut one off here because it's just kind of wonky. I don't think that would really make a huge difference in the grand scheme of things because you're just wiping it on the stamper, but I don't know, I didn't care for that too much. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that to Usually I'll try to do the whole stamp. Sometimes you don't really need to. But scrape that off so you kind of have your scraper at a slight angle, rolling motion to pick up this stamp. And it picked up pretty well. You'll see here that I kind of keep looking at it and pulling it away from my finger and pulling it back. I found the issue that I was having with this stamper is that because it's kind of a tapered cylinder, it has this weird, like, not even really magnetic effect, but it just, when you're looking at it through the other end of the stamper and trying to place it on your finger, it distorts the image and it's kind of hard to see exactly where you're placing it. So that was kind of the only issue really that I had with that stamper. And I think I ended up placing excuse me, some of the stamps a little bit crooked and like off center, so I end up wiping them off, which is what you're seeing here. I have my little bottle for the acetone, and I end up wiping that off of my nail because I just didn't like the way that it came out. And I'm actually kind of glad that I did that as well, because you'll see here that that black stamping polish kind of stayed a little bit stuck to my skin, my cuticle area. So that was kind of another thing that I didn't really like. It kind of stained my skin a little bit. The white one was not so bad, but yeah, that was kind of another issue that I had with the stamping polish. So I think if the stamping image was one where you didn't really, like say if I was doing in the upper corner, there's a stamp with, it looks like palm leaves, where you didn't really need to have it or want to have it centered, so to speak, or it didn't really matter where the stamps were, that stamper would be okay. But kind of like the geometric designs that I was trying to do, you kind of want a certain part of it to be centered on your nail, so that's kind of what I was having a hard time with. It's always nice to have an extra stamper, so. And it did pick up really well. It was just trying to look through it was quite an issue. So I am actually going to stamp on all 5 of my fingers, and I'm going to kind of alternate between the white and black stamping polish as I go along. So I'll let you watch for a little bit and I'll pop back in when I need to. So yeah, I was still having a problem with that stamper. So this is a stamper, it's a PUEEN, however you want to say it. I'm not entirely sure. But I got them on, I actually picked up 2 from Amazon. So I will link those in the description box as well. And this is actually, I think I've used it in a couple of other videos, but this was the very first time that I was using that stamper as well. And I did have a much easier time picking up the stamps and being able to place them correctly on my finger with this stamper. So that's why I switched over. And I figured I'd try it out instead of pulling out the Maniology stamper and give it a whirl. So as far as the polishes are concerned, they are very pigmented, so they did stamp well as far as the color is concerned. They're both very bright. I did have a little bit of a problem with the black stamping polish, and I think in some of the pictures, especially on my thumbnail, it seemed to kind of look a little, not smeared, but kind of like squished, like the stamping, like, so for instance, when I was stamping it on my thumb, it seems like the stamping polish kind of squished out a little bit. The lines don't look really crisp. So I don't know if that's the stamping polish, the stamper. I mean, some of them came out good, so it's kind of hard to say, but I think the stamping polish is a little bit thinner than like the Maniology polishes that I'm used to. So I would like to try this plate again with some of my Maniology polishes and see how those perform with this particular plate, and see if I have better luck with that. So I wanted to do something a little bit funky on my middle finger there. So I kind of did a half stamp with that zigzag stamp, and I'm going to do the other half of my nail with the black. So I thought it came out really cool, that one. Look at how neat that looks. I really love how that one came out. I thought that came out really cool. So I'm going to speed up the rest of this just a bit. So I'm just using, again, the geometric designs, pretty much staying within that square of 4 stamps there. But I'll let you watch the rest of the fingers before we move on. Okay, so I'm going to go in with my top coat, and I'm not cleaning anything off of my skin just yet. Once I top coat these, as long as I don't have any top coat on my skin at all or around my cuticle line, I can go in with acetone and really clean up all of that stamping polish really well. So that is what I'm going to be doing here. I was kind of looking at them a little bit because I wanted to add a little bit something extra. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to apply the top coat. But before I cure, I'm gonna add a little bit of a finishing touch, if you will. Now the one mistake that I did make though is that I probably should have waited to do my thumbnail, just because typically if your hand is laying flat, that thumbnail is always going to be curved, and when you apply the gel to it, it has a tendency to move until it's cured. So I did actually have a little bit of an issue where it kind of pulled up by my cuticle and kind of went out onto my skin a little bit. And I'm thinking that possibly now that I'm thinking about it, that may be why some of the stamping looked a little bit squishy. I think maybe the gel was making it kind of bleed out a little bit, so the lines looked a little bit squiggly instead of nice and crisp. So I think possibly the gel top coat made them kind of squiggly and move around a little bit. But I'm just applying a couple of gems to like where some of the geometrics kind of come to a point, if you will, and I'll zoom in on one of the nails as well, I think. My mom's always helping me decide where I want to place some of the gems. I did zoom in just a bit, as much as I could, so you could kind of see how I'm placing the gem. So once I get it on my nail, because the top coat hasn't been cured, you can kind of move it around as you need to until it's where you want it to be. And once you're happy with where everything is, you want to go ahead and cure that so that the gel polish is nice and hard. And then I'll go ahead and I'll clean up everything with the acetone as well, and we'll move on to the cuticle oil. So I did most of the cleanup off camera. I'm using my cedar leather Candy Skincare cuticle oil. I'm just going to place a small little dab on each finger there and rub that in. I really love the Candy Skincare. It feels really good on your skin and on your cuticles, but it's not super greasy feeling. Like I have another cuticle oil from a different brand that I don't really use that often, just because it does, you feel your fingers and your skin feel real greasy afterwards. So but you can see here, especially on my pinky finger, it seems like my skin is a little bit stained from the black polish still. I mean, all in all, I think they came out all right. I don't know that I would use the stamping polishes again, but definitely the plate and the stamper. But you can see like all of that black polish is still kind of on my skin a bit. Well, let me know what you think, and until next time, bye for now.